Moore, founder and CEO of Gravitas Holdings, a consultancy company for ICO and ITO. He is also the author of a book, How to ICO in Singapore, a regulatory and compliance viewpoint on initial coin offering and initial token offering in Singapore. We asked Malcolm, "What's your favorite book and why? Business and non-business if possible." He replied, "I'll answer these with a longer answer, the series of books that are my favorites. The business book series that set me on the path to entrepreneurship is from Robert Kiyosaki, from Rich Dad Poor Dad to the Cash Flow Quadrant and his other books. My paradigms shifted after reading those books and made me decide that in order to achieve some arbitrary financial goals, what I was doing at that point in time, being a company lawyer, wasn't going to enable me to reach those goals, and therefore that I should go into the business quadrant, since I was more interested in that than the investor quadrant. The fiction series that got me hooked was the Wheel of Time series. Every time a new book was published in that long series, I immediately got hold of a copy from the bookstore and would spend the next few days reading the book, since they were incredibly long. What appealed to me was the epic scale of the series and how the various protagonists were very well characterized and captured my attention and imagination." We asked Malcolm, "Was there a moment specifically when something you read in a book helped you? Can you tell us about it?" He replied, "Numerous such cases occurred, and there are too many to recall any one particular moment. However, since I already mentioned Kiyosaki's books, let's just say that how he describes the E, S, B, and Y quadrants changed the way I view my economic potential and choices and, in that sense, helped me decide what to embark on following the reading of those books." We asked Malcolm, "What books had the biggest impact on you?" He replied, "Again, reading Kiyosaki's books changed my life, since I chose entrepreneurship and my mind started to open to possibilities that I could create instead of following the safe, tried and true path of being part of the intelligentsia and going down the professional path that so many choose that is safe and rewarding, but would probably be very boring when I look back on it. There isn't much of an opportunity to be extraordinary by following the safe path." We asked Malcolm, "What books would you recommend to youngsters interested in your professional path and why?" He told us, "I would actually recommend that people interested in business pursue a double degree in accounting and law. Accounting allows one to get a firm grasp of numbers, which is crucial in the business world, and a legal background allows one to be truly in control and to know exactly where one stands in any situation without having to rely upon another's advice. Law is very important as it is the basic building block of society, and accounting gives one mastery of numbers, which is crucial in business." We told Malcolm, "We're interested in finding out more about your reading habits. How often do you read? In what format?" He told us, "When I was young, I read 2 books a day on average, from the age of 8 until I was 12. This reading habit was instilled by my mother and is the foundation block of who I am today, since by reading a whole slew of topics, I also went through the entire Encyclopedia Americana at home by the time I was 12, and having theoretical knowledge and a good general knowledge base, I would start off at an advantage in numerous situations and not have to pick up things through pure trial and error. It also made me a total nerd, since I would read beforehand about everything I liked or did before I even did it. For example, before playing football, I would read a book about it. Today, I read extensively through email and article feeds on topics that interest me, and also a bunch of other articles that happen to be fed to me by newsletters. The preferred format is the good old hard copy book." We asked Malcolm, "How do you make time for reading?" He replied, "I simply never idle or rest. There are constant article feeds in my smartphone or laptop, so I accumulate articles I want to read and then read them in my downtime." We asked Malcolm, "Do you take notes or have any other technique for conquering the torrent of information?" He told us, "One advantage I have in this aspect is my training as a chess player when I was younger and a lawyer when I was in university. My concentration is good, and I retain a lot of what I read, probably more so than most others, as a natural consequence of my background and what I did. Therefore, there is no need to take special notes or adhere to good habits of note-taking, recalling, and recapping things." We asked Malcolm, "How do you choose what books to read next?" He told us, I don't really choose them, it's more of a function of what I'm doing next, which would then lead me to the particular books that I would need to read in order to get up to speed on the topic. We asked Malcolm, do you prioritize those books recommended by certain people? Is there anyone that you consider a book recommendations guru? He replied, not really, although I would love to follow a book recommendations guru. I simply don't have enough time since I am spread out so thinly, so I don't have the time or discipline to practice this. Last question. What book are you currently reading and what are you expecting to gain from it? He told us, I wrote a book recently on how to ICO ITO in Singapore. I'll be working on a second edition soon, since it is an even-changing industry and scene with changes occurring every day as cryptocurrencies and ICOs explode onto public consciousness. So unfortunately, I don't have time to embark on someone else's book right now. This was our interview with Malcolm Tan. If you want to find out more about him and his projects, follow his website at www.gravitas-holdings.com. You can find all the books mentioned in this interview in the video description. The CEOlibrary.com is a daily updated library of book recommendations and interviews from the business people we look up to. Thank you.